Okay, here we go. Background removal tool doesn't seem to want to work right with the sunlight coming through the window behind me. So, um, anyway, um, need to get my web browser over here so I can look at it. This video is, or I'm sure, sorry, this article is just too long. I almost didn't read to the end of it, but I did read to the end of it. I'm not sure how much I'm going to remember, but we shall see. Putin says he saved Russia, but a year of challenges suggests Moscow's position is precarious. Well, I think it's some kind of a delusion to think that you have saved Russia, Mr. Putin. It might be the goodness of the rest of the world that has not yet decided to pummel your ass into the ground. Now, I don't know what other people think, but I'm not too. If I were in charge, I wouldn't be too quick to pummel people into the ground. But I'm not too happy about some country attacking another democratic nation that's been that way pretty much for the last 30 years. And then all of a sudden you decide to come in and I'm sure you'll say, take it back. Well, um, if you wanted to save Russia, I think it would be in your interest to participate in the European social group or whatever you want to call it. Maybe if you were nice, you could join the European Union. Maybe UK will eventually rejoin the European Union. I don't know if they will or not, but there's a lot of stuff in this article that seems to be super, super, super right wing. Um, Putin says, I've not just taken care of it, but I believe we have stepped back from the edge of the abyss. I think you're making your own abyss and you're digging it deeper. Somehow or another, you think you've improved Russia by making it more militaristic and invading other sovereign nation, which I guess you don't think it's a sovereign nation. I don't think that's an improvement. I've done everything so that Russia can be an independent sovereign state that's capable of making decisions in its interests. You do have to live on the planet, you know, for the rest of us. You don't have the firepower to take over the world. It'd be better if you just participated in it. I'd like to say the same thing to our incoming leader. He seems to be, I wouldn't even bother going through all of this nonsense with Putin if it weren't for the fact that Donald Trump seems to be taking lessons from Putin. Um, Yeah, let's see. He says rather than the interest of countries that were dragging it towards them, patting it on the back, using it for their own purpose. I don't think anybody wants to pat Russia on the back. So I guess you got that part right. Nobody's going to be patting you on the back, Mr. Putin. Um, I just don't want to read all this. Forces are making slow but steady advances in Ukraine. I don't know if they're steady or not, but I'm hoping you don't have a chance in hell of winning. But some think you might be wanting to tangle with NATO. I don't know. Hundreds of thousands of Russian troops have been killed or wounded in the war, which has dragged on for nearly 3 years. Um, and of course, Ukraine has occupied part of the Kursk region in Russia, hoping to use that for leverage later. The head of Russia's nuclear, biological, and chemical defenses was assassinated in an explosion in Moscow. The country's sanctions-battered economy is under severe strain, with annual inflation approaching 10%. The Russian central bank interest rate is 21%. That was a 2% hike. We talk about over here in the United States having a percent above prime rate in the single digits most of the time, sometimes zero. Uh, they never talk about what the prime rate is, though. I forgot what it was, but anyway, I don't think it's 21%. And then, of course, Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad was ousted, fled to Moscow. Apparently, Russia is scrambling to withdraw troops and military equipment from bases in Syria. On Christmas Day, this Azerbaijan Airlines jet carrying 67 passengers crashed. Apparently, they say it was shot down by a Russian missile. I saw an article earlier that said Putin apologized but didn't take responsibility for it. Putin used his invasion of Ukraine to remake his country, building a militarized Russian society geared to confronting the West for decades. Maybe you could consider joining the West for decades. Some nice democracies going forward would be a whole lot better than a bunch of killing, don't you think? I mean, you, Putin, don't think so, but I mean, I think it'd be a lot better. I'm just an armchair mouth, but that's what I think would be better than all the killing. I think you could go forward as a peaceful Russia, practicing democracy with the rest of the United States and Europe and the UK and anybody else that wants to join in. Reshaping women's roles. What do you think that means? It says down lower. Indoctrinating youth. Yeah. Um, yeah, Putin's waiting for Trump to be in power so they can be buddy-buddy. Putin said his only regret that Russia had not invaded Ukraine sooner. That's crazy. You shouldn't have invaded Ukraine when you did, if ever, and never, in my opinion. The war is omnipresent in Russian classrooms. I just hate to think about what it's like to be a kid over there in Russia now. Oh, they're saying don't finish high school. Join the military. And you can learn how to use these rifles right here. Convicted murderers are being released to fight in the war. The dream job floated to Russian youth is no longer software development. Instead, they're encouraged to pursue positions in new and promising areas such as working on drone assembly lines. A factory working is not promising. It's robotic. Still thinking about going to the 10th grade? Join the super elite course of Alabuga Polytechnic Institute to study aero navigation and drone programming. They're using Iranian-designed self-detonating drones. He couldn't even design his own drones, I guess. There's an ad for that, targeting 15-year-olds. You can complete high school or you can go to trade school, skipping higher education. Why should the children just learn how to wipe their school boards if they can learn how to wipe out cities from maps? An anchor on the independent TV Rain channel lamented during his year-end show, which he broadcast from Amsterdam. Putin is facing a declining population. The government showed there were 599,600 children born to Russia in the first half of 2024, the lowest rate since 1999. The Kremlin called it catastrophic. Schools once again turned to a policy testing ground with a new extracurricular class, Family Studies. Does this sound familiar to you United States folks? They're teaching women to be obedient, not have any abortions, and ignore any domestic abuse you get. You got to make sure you don't get divorced. You got to make more babies. In November, the Parliament adopted a law to ban child-free propaganda. So it's propaganda now to not have children. If you don't have children, you're doing propaganda. A local version of an MTV reality show, 16 and Pregnant, created in the 2000s, was originally intended as a cautionary tale against teenage pregnancy and drew the ire of authorities. They sought to ban it because it was promoting promiscuity. 2024, they changed it to Mom at 16 and cited the beauty of motherhood. To sugarcoat the challenges of raising a child as an impoverished teenager. Several regional governments have introduced a one-time cash payment of $1,000 to $2,000 for pregnant university students. Well, how far do you think that'll go? I remember a study years ago that said it cost about $50,000 to raise a child. I bet you that's a lot higher now. Said the payments were contingent on women carrying a pregnancy beyond 12 weeks, which is the legal limit for an abortion. So if you make the 12 weeks, you can't have an abortion. Oh, and they want to lower it to 9 weeks. Yeah. He seems to believe he's won the war, said journalist and author Mikhail Zygar, who, like many critics of the Kremlin, lives in exile. His address carries the implication that with Democrats lost in the United States elections, the Western world he has fought against is defeated. Y'all, there's more countries in the world than the United States. There's a lot of folks in Europe. We call that the West. You're next door, Putin. Have you noticed? He's waiting for Trump, like I said, up above. Trump is practically seen as the mascot for the end of the world, old world order and demise of the liberal democratic ideology. Great. So, I mean, you've got a fascist Russia, if not worse, a fascist United States, if not worse, coming. Y'all can just get together and create your fascist world. I wonder what happens when the Putin and Trump fascist world meets with the Chinese over there on that other side. It's a mess. And they talk about Putin's got bigger missiles in response to Biden's bigger missiles, and what power does democracy hold if such and such missile can melt an underground bunker 4 stories deep? That is a sad attitude right there. Putin has successfully convinced Washington that he's to be feared and that he's crazy enough to drag NATO into war. Is that right? Allies have let their fear of escalation overtake a winning military strategy. As a result, Putin has put a finger to the wind and sees it is blowing in his direction. I think somebody farted. This whole article is just a sad indicator of what's coming. I just hope that Donald Trump does not buddy up with Putin as strongly as he's buddied up with Elon Musk. I can just only imagine what the world will look like if those three are buddy-buddy. Yeah, the doggy doesn't like it either. Love you, bye.